Hi guys, my name is Anna, you're watching simcue, and without further ado, let's get into this video. So if you've watched any of my other videos, first and foremost, thank you very much. And secondly, you will probably quickly notice that this is very different. While I do love a good fantasy build and I do like building bigger builds, I definitely also have a passion for architecture. So today I'm trying to bring to The Sims 4 the Farnsworth House. If you don't know anything about the Farnsworth House, I will get into that a little bit later, but I thought for now we should just comment on the building, because right now I'm trying to get the overall shape right. So it's sort of built on two foundations. It kind of has this like mid terrace kind of thing, and as you just saw, I deleted everything and started over because the foundation meant that there were more columns than I really needed. So instead what I did here was that I created a upper floor, so first or second floor depending on where you're from, and then I deleted the ground floor and then lowered the first floor so that it now looks like it's the ground floor, but it's technically hanging above the ground. And this did allow me to put in some columns underneath. Now these glitch out, and luckily, because when I wanted to upload this to the gallery, there was like a big tree in the way. So I thought, okay, I'll just move the building somewhere else and then I will upload it from there. And when I did that, when I like moved the building, the columns underneath disappeared. They were clearly a glitch. I don't know how I managed to actually place them. But luckily I did notice, so you will see me like around the end of the video change the columns at the bottom, so you won't have that issue. So right now we have the overall shape down and we're choosing flooring. I went back and forth with this quite a lot because it's very light. It's almost white, and it's these like tiles that go all the way through the building, and it's clearly the same like outdoor indoor kind of thing. So I wanted to find the right ones, but I was also a little bit cautious about which packs I chose, as I like to be, because I like the buildings to be downloadable for as many people as possible. So what you can see is that there's glass everywhere. This is what the building is very much like known for. And then it has this middle section. So in real life, this middle section also has like a lot of utilities, but otherwise it houses two bathrooms, which you will see me design. And then the kitchen is here on the back, because where else would you really put a kitchen in a full-on glass house? So the kitchen is on one of these walls, and on the other wall is where we have the living room, and the bedroom is really just in this open space. So the Farnsworth house was originally designed, well, not originally designed by, it was designed by Mies van der Rohe, which that name I probably butchered, but it was designed to be a weekend retreat for the Dr. Edith Farnsworth. But what I didn't know is that they actually had a big dispute over the building, and they ended up suing each other because this was supposed to be a weekend retreat, and then it's just all glass. So the privacy that Edith was looking for, she didn't really have. So she sued over the building itself. She sued over the cost. Like, it ended up costing about double as much as was originally planned. And because this was very different than what people were used to seeing, this was finished in 1951. A lot of people went to actually see the house. So the very purpose of the house was just completely lost. And she ended up selling it about 20 years later. So she did use it quite a lot. And I guess over time, people probably were less interested in it. But it was a real issue to begin with, which you can kind of understand. Like, I know it as an architectural icon, but I can definitely see it being like really horrible if this is where you want to slow down and take a break from your clearly very busy life. And then there's just people all around, and they can at all times look into your home. That's horrible. So it was sold, someone else took care of it for a while, and today it's like a historic museum, so you can come and see it, which I really wanted to if possible, but it's in Illinois, America, so quite far away. So as you can see here, we already have some furniture down, and you might be wondering why I'm choosing this furniture and why it's placed this way, and that's because I'm following some reference photos, even though over time the interior has changed a little bit. So it was a bit different when Edith owned it in comparison to now as a historic museum, but it pretty much stays the same, or at least has the same like vibe. So the only thing I could not find pictures of were the bathrooms, which I am doing right now. So I'm sort of just freestyling them. The only thing is that on the blueprints I could see that they would have these like tub shower combos, but I do find that tubs are a little bit annoying for actual gameplay, so I did decide to put a shower in one of them, which is what I'm doing here. So I added this snowy escape shower because I was already using some items from that pack, so that you would just have a regular shower. So in real life, this middle part also houses like a utility room, but for The Sims 4 I obviously had to scale certain things down, leave certain things out, and also add some things that I feel like are more essential for gameplay. Like there are actually not no of the pictures that include a computer, but I decided to add that in because it's quite essential almost for like playing in The Sims 4. Your Sims need it so often, and there was this desk space anyway, so I just added it in. So this is the bedroom space, the bedroom area. It's not an actual room, it's more just to the side, and here the reference photos also vary a little bit. Some of them, which are the ones I've been looking at, have this partitional kind of built-in vibe of bookcases and what I assumed would be a wardrobe on the other side. That's what I'm fiddling with here, and luckily I do end up making some changes, so I do think that it turns out quite nicely. I use these from Dream Home Decorator, is that what it's called? I'd used quite a lot of furniture from this pack because they all match, and I find that the style like worked out pretty well for this. You can see that I'm struggling a little bit with how they sort of clip to one another, but I do manage in the end, and I'm just adding some clothes on this one. So yeah, some of the photos don't seem to have this. I don't know if it was capable of like being moved around, but some of the pictures will have this built-in, well, I guess it's not built-in if it can be moved, but this section. So by now you probably have a pretty good feeling of the layout of this house. There is this box in the middle housing 2 bathrooms, and in real life also a utility room, and it also helps divide the rest of the space. So we had the kitchen at the top, living room at the bottom, dining room and desk workplace to the left, and the bedroom to the right. And I really do like this as an architectural feature, but I fully understand why this wasn't really what you were hoping for if what you were looking for was like a private retreat. So when I'm done placing these lamps, I think we will see me get a bit more into decorating the space. Some of the decorations I found to, I want it to look like in the reference photos, and others are just items that I have placed that I feel like fit the space. What you'll see here is me placing this painting on these cupboards. In real life, they're not actually cupboards, they're just part of the box in the middle, so it's just like a wall. But the way I did it was that I deleted the wall behind it so that it wouldn't clip to the wall, and then I placed the painting where I wanted it to go, and then did the walls again and repainted them. And shortly I will be going around and placing curtains on some of these glass walls. So in real life there are curtains that can be dragged like all the way around so that you can completely shut out everything and hide everything inside, but I just decided to place them actually again in some of the areas that I saw in reference photos. I didn't really know which ones to pick because there were these ones, and then there were the ones from, I think, Dine Out that were a little bit bigger because these are obviously meant to be floor-to-ceiling curtains, but I did decide to just go for this one from the base game because I unfortunately don't have, I think it's like, is it called Desert Luxe or something, where you will probably, if you see other creators, they use these curtains that come with the pack quite a lot, and they are really nice. I've honestly thought about buying the pack primarily for the curtains, but it's fine. Like, I just chose these base games one because I like how many, obviously not ruffles, but how many like waves they have. I hope that makes sense. So I think by now we are done with placing the things that I can sort of find from reference photos, and obviously not everything is exact. I can't really do that, but you will see later on how I try to match the real life building. So now it's more so just placing some details here and there, because if you're going to use this, you're probably going to use it as an actual house for your Sims. So I wanted to add in a bit more clutter, make it seem a bit more like lived in. And I also did go in later and add some activities. I think I add like a violin and an easel, because I wanted it to actually be functional. Like, you don't want your Sims to live in a place where all they can do is just live, like there's nothing else for them to do. And I do feel like with this kind of home, like you would have a Sim that is kind of into architecture, maybe design in some way, and they would clearly also have money. I actually don't know how much this ends up costing, but it's definitely not a cheap build. In real life, back in the 50s when it was finished, it ended up costing, I think I read like $74,000, which at the time and for the size of the build was a lot, and it was only meant to cost around like 40,000. So I think I mentioned earlier as well, like almost double as much. I think you just saw me place these magazines we got with one of the events. I actually felt like they fitted this building quite nicely. So I do hope that you have those event items. I do think that even if you don't actually have the event items in your catalog, you still will be able to see them and interact with them in the build. I think, I'm pretty sure. So it shouldn't be a problem. Otherwise, I'm just, going around adding some small details, and now we're reaching the outdoor side, or the outdoor place. And this is also just me freestyling, finding some furniture that I feel like match the building. I also added in a grill because, again, you are going to use it for just regular Sims like actually living here, and so I thought a grill would make sense. So here I'm going in and adding the columns, and right now it's all like smooth sailing, and I also will be adding them to this lower part, and then I lower them with the tool mod, and it looks fine here in the beginning, but I am really glad, even though it's really annoying, but this one time the gallery actually saved me, because otherwise I wouldn't have noticed that the columns disappear. So I do think I have some footage of me changing it later. Yeah, and here we are. So I moved the building to get a better gallery shot, and then the columns were just messed up. And in the beginning here, I'm trying to add them again, but if you notice, they actually turn red in the beginning, like they don't want to place, and then somehow I get lucky enough to actually place them either way. But I did realize that obviously it meant that the column was actually glitched and it wasn't really working. So here I am instead going through the debug catalog, and I was just looking for anything I could find, but I ended up finding these actually really nice white pillars. They're not pillars. I think they're supposed to actually be part of a fence. And what I did was I just made them smaller with the tool mod, and the ones at the bottom I made smaller and then also lowered into the ground. And because these are just items, that means that they will stay in the place even though I use tool mod, so it should not be a problem if you decide to download this build, which I obviously hope that you still want to. You should be able to have them place the exact spot that I placed them. So here I am going back and I'm thinking about recoloring the wall, because I'm using this one as I went back to from Eco Lifestyle, and it was the only thing I was using from Eco Lifestyle. So I was just shortly considering if anything else would fit, but it didn't. So I'd still decided to go with it because it's the only one that really had the proper color, which was this like orange wood kind of tone. So I think we'll just have a little bit of landscaping. There isn't really a lot of landscaping. It's very much just a clear plot of land, so I didn't really do that much. I can see that we'll soon be getting into the screenshots, so I just want to quickly mention that you will actually see photos of this place. These photos fall under the Creative Commons license, so I am allowed to use them, and you can find the attributions for the photos in the description down below. If you want to download this build, my name on the gallery is just simcue. I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you have a lovely day, and that I'll get to see you next time. Bye!